listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Damashevitz.
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah!
Good afternoon and welcome to The Scrimmage. Daniel Hargrove will be here soon, probably and hopefully. I'm Justin Damashevitz. I'm here to carry the load of this show until Daniel makes it. We are on a tight time frame today because I have to make it home before the 2 o'clock or 2:05 tip of the Tar Heels game. Our producer, Andrew Gross, is here now, and hopefully any minute Daniel Hargrove will show up. And he was scrambling to get here from church, so really he was doing the work of the Lord today, and that's why he's late. It's not him being irresponsible this time. But Daniel must be here. Cucumber has announced his presence. Daniel Hargrove, welcome to the show. At this moment, Daniel will be coming over and putting his headphones on.
One shining moment.
Yeah. Daniel, I brought back Yeah Sunday to open the show.
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah. We used to say Yeah Monday when we had our old show because it actually played on the radio on Mondays. And then at a certain point, once we didn't have the actual Monday radio show anymore, we were like, why are we saying Yeah Monday? We're not even recording on a Monday, and people can listen to this anytime they want. They might listen to it on Tuesday. Or even Wednesday if they're slackers.
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah, days that end in Y.
Blur's Day.
Yeah. Daniel, I told the audience that you weren't here for the beginning because you were doing the Lord's work.
I was.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, I was doing camera for the Lord's work. Does that count?
Yes. That is the Lord's work.
Cool.
Everything matters.
Really?
Yeah. So, anyway.
Everybody plays their little part.
Yeah. So we're going to have a different, this show's going to have a different feel to it. Because
Justin's winging it.
Yeah.
This
and
was
when Justin wings it, that combined with my normal winging it, who knows what's going to happen.
I think I literally did 45 seconds of preparation.
That's a lot.
For this show today.
Oh, the preparation was for this show.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Well, because
That's more than I expected of you.
Because we don't have 2-minute drill today. I do have one Stump Daniel question that was something I found that I thought was interesting. That took about 20 seconds. The other 25 seconds were, oh, hey, I remember that this local athlete did something cool. He should be our athlete of the week.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So that was all 45 seconds of my prep.
Yeah, that's good prep.
But, some stuff probably happened today.
I'm disappointed in you.
Why?
You only have 2 articles of North Carolina clothing on.
I'm uncomfortable with the fact that you just looked under the table at me.
Well, I'm glad you're wearing pants.
Thank you.
Put it that way.
Yeah, I have my hat and I have my t-shirt. I didn't wear my Carolina shorts because they don't have pockets. But I intend to switch to my Carolina shorts when I get home.
Okay.
And I can't wear my Carolina shoes here because they're very white. And I don't want to walk through mud in them.
Are you saying that you have to walk through mud to get to Andrew's place?
Actually, today I didn't because I didn't have to open the gate. He had it all open and ready for me. But it is something that I think about.
Oh, yeah, the gate. Was I supposed to close that on my way in?
Nah, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So anyway, where we would normally say, let's get it going with the 2-minute drill, we don't have 2-minute drill.
So let's get it going with the 2-minute. Oh, wait.
So
what do we do?
I think we have to just move on to my favorite part of the show.
Oh.
Ooh.
Serving questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stump Daniel.
Daniel, this is a March Madness history question.
Let's go.
And since we have the improbable run of the Peacocks of St. Peter's.
Let's go Peacocks.
No, not today.
Oh, wait.
But up to this point.
I do want to talk about that.
This has been very exciting. It's been fun to watch. They're a 15 seed, and they've gotten all the way to the Elite Eight, even though they're probably going to lose today. So I thought this was interesting. I stumbled upon this. And this was from a couple days ago, but it says on this day in 2011. So it's on this day in 2011, but a couple days ago.
Okay.
So not on this day.
And
In
if someone's listening to
2011.
this on Blur's Day, then
Yeah.
it's, like a week ago.
It definitely happened on a day that ended in Y.
Okay.
An 11 seed completed an improbable run from the first 4, meaning they had to play a play-in game to get into the 64-team field,
Okay.
to the final 4.
Oh, dang.
They knocked off 1-seeded Kansas in the Elite 8.
Let's go.
You hate to see it happen.
So in honor, this was an 11 seed and St. Peter's is a 15 seed, but in honor of St. Peter's making it to the Elite 8, and actually Miami's a 10 seed and they're playing in their game right now, and currently I think it's halftime.
I mean, are we forgetting what happened last year?
What happened last year?
Oh, my gosh.
He's forgotten.
I'm going to punch you in the nose. Oregon State was a 12 seed playing in the Elite 8.
Oh.
A 12 seed.
Oh. I apologize.
That is quite impressive.
That was a bad job by me. I should have figured that out.
It's all right.
We could just call this Stump Justin.
At least
right?
I remembered.
So, Daniel, in 2011, which team was the 11 seed who made it from the first 4 all the way to the final 4, knocking off top-seeded Kansas in the Elite 8?
I'm going to go with one of my favorite Cinderella teams. This could be way off because it might have been more recent that this team was doing good things. But I'm going to go with Butler.
It is not Butler.
Darn it.
That's a good guess. Butler had some really good seasons.
Butler
Yeah.
a Cinderella? I thought they were I thought they were good.
Well, yeah. I mean, they were good, but they had to start somewhere.
Oh, okay. I
Like
got you. Okay.
they're kind of a Gonzaga trajectory.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was an honest question. I
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah. Because I mean, where are they now? Blue Bloods are still around, even if
Okay.
they have down years.
Okay.
But I mean, Butler's been gone for a while now.
Pretty much since
Their
Brad
coach
Stevens left.
Yeah, their coach left for the NBA.
Yeah, he coaches
Yeah.
the Celtics now.
Yeah. So it's like if
Or
Mark
actually-
Few left, then Gonzaga
The
would probably-
Celtics.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if he still coaches the Celtics or if he moved into like some kind of front office position. I think there was a switch in the offseason.
Oh, weird.
He's still with the program. Anyway, you're wrong.
Oh, darn it.
The correct answer, which I think you would have come up with this after a few guesses, but it was VCU.
Oh yeah,
Coached by-
Virginia Commonwealth.
Yep, coached by Shaka Smart. Started in the play-in as an 11 seed, advanced all the way to the Final Four.
But then he wasn't very smart.
Well, he left.
Shaka.
Yeah.
He
Thank you.
There was something that happened on the Levitard show this week was they were talking about mascots and somebody brought up the Shockers. Mm-hmm. And one of the hosts thought that it was... Maybe I shouldn't say it.
Wait, but this was a host of a national radio show?
Yeah.
What do you say?
They thought it was...
I thought it was the hand gesture.
They thought it was... No, I'm not going to say it. I'll tell you guys later.
Okay. Do you know what it actually is? I just learned this
What?
recently. You
Yeah.
know what the Shockers actually are? Okay,
Electric
so
lightning bolts.
that's what I would have thought, but no, their mascot is like a
Electric guy.
wheat. No, it's a wheat of hay. it's
shocks of wheat.
Yeah,
right.
shocks of wheat. So like a shock of wheat is like a pile of wheat, and so if you're a shocker, you're someone who's like pitching the hay, the shocks. The
Yeah,
shocks
when
of
you
hay.
shock wheat,
Yeah,
I believe
shock
you
wheat.
bundle it and you stand the bundles up, and then you put wheat over the or straw over the top to make a little roof that helps the
So
the
it would-
hay.
It would be like if Willapa
wheat.
Valley decided to call their team the Baylors.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which actually would not be a terrible name.
No, that'd be a pretty good name.
No, lots of teenagers make extra money by baling hay in the summers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Willapa Valley.
Yeah, so that's kind of what the Shockers are. But I was so confused. I was like, "Wow, really Shockers? That's kind of a cool." And then I saw their mascot, and I was like,
That doesn't make any sense at all.
"Yeah, why does a strand of wheat have to do with a shocker?" But
That's
If
really
you want to
cool.
know what the thing is that I couldn't bring myself to say, tweet at me at Justin Dama. I'll get it to you. It's funny, but it might be a little past PG-13.
all right, so do we want to get right down into the nitty gritty of why this show is the way it is today?
Well,
Why is it that you are the way you are?
I would
I
really
hate so
like
much
to
about
know,
the things you choose to be.
I would really like to know how you're feeling about this game, because normally I would assume you're rooting for your team to win. However, in this situation that UNC is in right now, they have the choice. One of two things will happen. Either they'll lose to a 15 seed in the Elite Eight, or they will go on to play against Duke in the Final Four, which, from what I've gathered on the internet, is not something that UNC fans are generally looking forward to.
I have been adamantly hoping that it doesn't happen, but I wasn't at any point hoping that Carolina would lose to make it not happen.
Right.
I wanted
Right,
Duke to lose so it wouldn't happen.
That's understandable. But now you only have those two choices.
Yeah. No, I want them to win. I know.
See, why? Okay, I'm confused at this.
So I think
and this is a general feeling between North Carolina fans?
North Carolina
Like, it's
and
not-
Duke fans have never agreed on anything more than they agree that they do not want to face each other in the Final Four.
What?
In Coach K's last game. On the
This is
internet,
like-
I have not seen anyone going, yeah, I want that to happen. Everyone who roots for either of those teams is going, oh God, my doctor is on speed dial. I'm actually sent my family out of the state.
Is this because there's not a true underdog in the situation?
I don't
Because
know. I'm
me
curious.
as a Beavers fan, if I looked at a bracket and saw, if we win all the way, and if Oregon happens to win all the way, we could kick the crap out of them in the Final Four. I'd be so jacked about that game, but you're so worried about it that you can't even enjoy that you have the opportunity to have Coach K lose his last game and have it be against North Carolina and have it be in the Final Four.
I don't enjoy a non-conference game against Wofford. I'm not going to enjoy a Final Four game against Duke. I'll say this. I think at least from
Wow,
what
you make
I've
being
been saying.
a sports fan miserable.
So what I've been saying is I don't want this to happen. I don't want it to happen. I don't want it to happen. But at no point did I ever think I would like my team to lose so that it didn't happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was not implying that you were ever.
As Andrew's saying, I mean, and first of all, I don't F with Duke fans, so I can't tell you what any of those morons think. But I can tell you that my Carolina family, they generally are not. It's not like that's a game we're afraid of. Let me put it this way. In my Carolina group chat,
Okay.
one of the people that's in it is a first responder who literally got called away from the Carolina Baylor game because a fan had a heart attack during the game.
Oh my gosh.
So
and
they are local.
The general
to the-
feeling, they're all over the country, but that particular
that guy is
one,
local.
that was a local. The general feeling, although you will get the random person that comes in and says, I'm not going to lie, I want the Duke game. I want that smoke. I mean, I want it because I want them to win.
Yeah.
I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm not going to enjoy any part of it. Even if they win that game, when the final buzzer sounds, all that you'll see is a pile of me collapsed on the floor because the last 2 hours of my life have been so
What if it's a blowout?
physically and emotionally exhausting.
Because that's what I thought the Super Bowl was going to be, and then the Seahawks just pooped all over the Broncos.
It would have to be
Like
a 40-point lead.
well,
because-
I get that because as we
Like
saw,
5
one
minutes
person
left.
getting kicked out of the game completely throws North Carolina's team for a loop because they
Yeah.
have zero depth.
That's literally 1/5 of their entire team, Daniel.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Except
no,
for that
I mean,
one guy who should play more, in my opinion.
I want it. I want them to win,
Well,
and I
now
want that
you
game
want
to
it.
happen.
Yeah.
But up till this point, I've never rooted harder against Duke. And I'll say this: there's an added element to this because it's not just I can't handle a Carolina Duke Final Four game. It's the script was written
Right.
Yeah.
and executed
Yep.
that Carolina beat Coach K at Cameron Indoor Stadium in his last home game, and it was a glorious day to the point that many Tar Heel fans, this was like a literal majority. I don't really care what happens the rest of the season. I don't care if we win the title. I don't care if we make the Final Four. We just ruined the final chapter of Coach K's Cameron Indoor legacy.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And now, for him to have a shot at redemption in the Final Four to get back to the championship game, if that happens, I'll vomit.
Yeah.
I'll literally vomit. Regular games. Just last week, a regular game. Not a Duke game. My son looked at me and said, "Dad, you look like you're going to throw up. Why is your face all red?" I kept having to bend down and put my hands on my knees and take deep breaths. It's a physical sick feeling. So it's not going to be pleasant, and it's not going to be fun.
And from what I've seen of fans representing both Duke and UNC on social media and on the internet, Justin is not that off average from the UNC and the Duke fans, which to me, Justin, you're the only person who cares about any team that I can think of as much as you care about UNC. So no offense, Daniel.
Are you freaking serious? It's just my teams are never in this situation. And do you think he would care about North Carolina as much if his team constantly was at the bottom of the league?
That's a fair point.
No!
That's a fair point.
He wouldn't have picked him in the first place.
That doesn't change
you can get his name out of your mouth.
I'm not...
I will punch you over
shot
this.
At you.
Yes, it is.
You'll talk about punching me over this. Justin would have already thrown up and passed out.
No, because I'm accusing him of the same thing, and he hasn't done either. He hasn't even said anything.
I'm just kind of afraid of Daniel, if I'm going to be honest. He's become very volatile over the last couple of years.
I did not mean that as a
aggressive,
shot at Daniel.
Violent. Just kidding. Sorry, Daniel.
My point was just that I have thought for years that Justin was just a crazy person.
Yeah.
But it turns out
there's a lot of crazy people.
There's the whole fan base.
Yeah. And
it's crazy.
And do you understand why I'm confused at this? Is it because that was an honest question. Is it because there's not actually a true underdog in the situation? There's not a little brother in this rivalry, is there?
Probably.
In most other rivalries, there's a little brother. Mm-hmm. Boston and New York, there's an obvious little brother there. Oregon State and Oregon, sadly, there's a little brother there. Washington, UW, and Washington State.
I think that's a good point because even though UNC is an 8 seed, so you could strongly argue that they, with no context, just
for this
in this
matchup,
tournament, that they are the underdogs and they don't have anything to lose. But over the course of, especially with it being Coach L's last season, it's the context means so much more. There's no little brother. They both have everything to lose.
Yeah. But I was just thinking, if this was Oregon State going up against, same situation, just switch out the team names and the team histories of which one being, we would be super duper upset if we lost that game, but also we would know that would be an upset.
Yeah.
If it happened, people would be really surprised.
I also feel, I don't know if this is true of you, so I'm talking about from my own perspective, but as a Cougar fan, I am used to losing.
Yeah.
I'm used to disappointment. Mm-hmm. Even when I really, truly expect to win, I've been disappointed so many times that it isn't shocking, and I've dealt with it multiple times. I feel like that is also an experience that both UNC and Duke fans are not used to. They're not used to normally being disappointed.
So now that we've told you why you are the way that you are, why are you the way that you are?
I think that...
Because I'm really confused at this.
There's a couple things. One is, if this were not Coach L's last year, I would have a very different feeling going into a Final Four game against them. I would be much more likely to want the smoke. Especially, 8 seed going up against a 2 seed, you're sort of playing with house money. You're going to be upset if you lose, but so for me, we talk a lot as a fan about managing expectation.
Yeah.
And I try really hard to do this because every year going into the season, I can be okay, well, sometimes I think this Tar Heels team is a national championship contender.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look at a squad and I'm if the freshmen perform on this team, they can make a Sweet 16. Like, there's always a level of success I think they can achieve. But when the game is going on, all that is out the window. Mm-hmm. And while I watch the game, I'm a crazy person.
Yeah.
And then once the game is over, then I can have perspective on what just happened. So earlier in the
Sounds like
season,
Brock Heward watching a Huskies game.
earlier in the season, I watched the Tar Heels lose to Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And since then, they've been generally excellent. I saw that going into this game against St. Peter's, if you started it at immediately after the loss to Pittsburgh, Carolina would be the third ranked team in the Ken Palm ratings from that point on. So they legitimately have turned a corner and become really good. And there's been a lot of stories told about some speeches and stuff that Coach Davis gave to the kids, and they're talking about it. But also, that was at the point where he really settled into, these are my five. This is our rotation. Guys coming off the bench were earning a minutes, and it was a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that was when he kind of just decided to go all in on these five guys, and they sort of formed the dynamite offensive five that they have. So I feel like at that point, I could have looked at this team and said, you know what? At the end of the season, if they make the Sweet 16, or even if they miss the Sweet 16, I could look at it and go, okay, well, logically, they're not one of the best 16 teams in the country, but they are one of the best 32. So I would feel like, okay, that was an appropriate finish.
Yeah.
So at this point, they've already achieved above my expectation by like 2 rounds. Mm-hmm. So I feel like after it's over, I will legitimately, depending on how the game goes and ends, I could legitimately, if they lose to St. Peter's today, there's a possibility that I could look at it and be like, you know what? Great season. But not in the game.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense for that game. It really does. I don't think that'll be your feeling if they. I don't want to jinx anything. I feel weird talking about if they win. Are you comfortable with me talking about that for if the next game happens?
I think it's okay because it's been happening.
Okay.
So you won't be the jinx if it's a jinx.
Okay. So
it'll be literally all of college football fans that have been talking about this for like the last 2 rounds.
And college basketball fans.
Probably college basketball fans too.
Yeah, probably. I try to avoid those.
Miami's
people.
up 6 on Kansas right now. Early in the second half.
That would be pretty awesome.
If the game happens, and if the game goes the way of the dark side, are you going to be able to make it to work the following Monday?
Well,
Because I remember when the Seahawks lost the Super Bowl to the dark side.
Yeah.
I felt physically sick. And the Seahawks are like fairly low on the totem pole for my fanhood loyalty. Like, I'm a Seahawks fan. I'm not going to all of a sudden start rooting for the Broncos. No, that's not how I am. But they're fairly low on the ranking system. Like, it's Mariners and Beavers. Pretty much.
Mariners number 1. Rank them. I really want to hear the ranking. I was actually, when Andrew was talking about your fanhood, I was like, I wonder which team Daniel would put on top.
It's really close.
Okay.
Because they both started around the same time.
And if it's college sports, you got to separate the teams. So basketball, football,
basketball. It'd be football first.
Okay.
It'd be, so I think Oregon State football
number 1.
is probably number 1,
Okay.
which is really sad. No, but it's like 1A, 1B.
Okay.
And then there's Mariners baseball, which is a little less sad, but still pretty sad.
So you're saying 1A, 1B is Oregon State football and Mariners baseball?
I think so, yeah.
So
Yep.
there's been a few random bright spots there, but that's
A lot of pain.
That's a lot of pain.
disappointment.
It's a lot of
That is a
pain
lot
and
of pain.
disappointment. And then the Oregon State basketball has been more of a recent thing. Like they were what got me to decide between Oregon and Oregon State in the first place was the basketball team, because My family always used to go to the Far West Classic, which was a tournament that they had at the Rose Garden in Portland, and Oregon State would be there, and they'd have some other random teams. Like I think Temple was there the year that I went, and I finally got to go. And this is back when Oregon State perennially was a good basketball team. They weren't North Carolina, but they were always in the tournament. They had a good program, and this was like right at the end of that. And we went to the whole tournament, and I remember that it was Oregon State and Oregon in the championship game of this small, like 16 tournament or something like that. And I went in at like 6 years old going, Dad, I don't really care who wins. I like both Oregon and Oregon State. And while I'm sure my dad almost had a seizure at me saying that, by the time that the end of the game happened, which was Oregon State came down with like 12 seconds left, hit a jumper to take the lead by 1, and then Oregon responded by hitting a jumper at the buzzer to win and beat the Beavers, I bawled.
Okay.
Lost my mind.
That's how you know it's real.
Weeping.
It's not forced.
And yeah, from then on, there has been no doubt in my mind that I hate the Ducks so much.
How old were you at that point?
I was probably about 7.
Okay.
6 or 7.
There was a point once when my younger son was about probably 4
Yeah.
that he didn't really understand the difference between good and evil.
Yeah, exactly.
And he said, and he also is like, ever since he could speak, he's always been a contrarian.
Yeah.
And he likes to poke at people. I mean, he'll be a high quality troll someday.
Yeah.
And,
Following after his dad.
He said, I think I kind of like Duke. And I was so mean to him, I made him cry. And it wasn't like it wasn't a thought out response. I don't even remember what I said, but it was like, no, you don't. No, you don't. And it was harsh enough and rude enough that my responses made him literally cry at around 4 or 5 years old. And I think my wife is pretty tolerant through all of this. Like she actually thinks some of it's kind of funny, although she worries about my health.
Yeah.
Because like I have actual literal physical reactions. My body has physical reactions to the way I feel during Tar Heels games.
Stress will do that to you.
But she's very, she understands. Mm-hmm. She was very upset with me for my reaction to my
making your
preschool
4-year-old
age son.
That's not good. That's not healthy.
Well,
So, Daniel,
he never said it again. So
when I goad Anchor
Yeah.
into rooting briefly for the Ducks, and you make him cry for it, then I'll take back what I said earlier.
So I have to wait until I make my son cry?
I'm just,
like I have.
I'm just
That's
saying,
the only way
I'm
to
just-
prove it.
That's about the most extreme example I've ever heard Justin come up with.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
So I have to wait
and
to
I
make
really
my kid cry to
truly
prove
did
it.
not intend that as a shot at you.
I think it's just
More
saying,
of a shot at Justin.
It's understandable, and I realize since this is, we're just winging it today. So we're having this really random, broad discussion. Justin's watching the clock. He's got 35 more minutes before he's going to leave. Gave us a hard deadline. I realize that I haven't had the opportunity as a fan of a perennial underdog, like those are my teams, to have this situation.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and then even with Oregon State basketball, I had so much fun rooting with you.
Yeah.
through that was a really fun thing that we all kind of rooted together. Because on top of the fact that it's the Beavers, and we all sort of root for the Beavers anyway. I've got a couple Beavers shirts because I've just kind of piggybacked on your fanhood. But they were an awesome Cinderella story, and Ethan Thompson was a phenomenal player to watch. So it was really fun. But then there was a game in the tournament where you're watching on your phone because you're on a family walk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just couldn't believe you let it happen. Like how the thought. So that was when I was starting to think of ranking. I'm not trying to take a shot at you. When I was starting to try to think of the ranking of teams on your list.
Yeah.
That I think that made me realize that Oregon State football, Mariners, Oregon State basketball is probably somewhere in like the 4 or 5 range down
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
where you really cared about it, and
Yeah.
we were all in on it, and you were all in on it.
Yep.
But like, if Oregon State football was playing in a college football playoff game, you would not be watching on your phone from a family walk.
No.
You would have said, "Sorry guys,
Yeah.
you can walk without me.
Yep.
I want to watch this football game."
Even though, yeah, I think the thing is even though your sister's in from out of town and she's been out of state for like a year, yeah, I'm not going to be on this family walk.
And I understand,
Yeah.
like, we all deal with all kinds of conflicts with family, and
Yeah.
like it's all hard to balance all this stuff out.
I
But
had,
some stuff is just more important than family.
yeah. My stomach was in knots that entire walk, and I was not much of a part of it. Like, and because the Beavers did not blow anybody out, and the end of the game happened while I'm on this walk, and I remember just like everybody, I kind of just stopped walking, and everybody else kept moving on, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like it was all my muscles seized up, because you can't do anything.
Yeah.
That's how it was. But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And again, part of it is because they had no business being there.
Yeah.
Like they were picked to finish 12th in the Pac-12 that season.
Yeah. And they only made the tournament because they won the Pac-12 tournament. They
Yeah.
would not have made it as an at-large team.
Not even close. And then they go to the Elite Eight. And this year, they prove it by finishing 12th in the Pac-12.
It's kind of interesting.
What did they get picked to finish?
I don't know, probably better than that.
Maybe that was the problem.
Yeah.
It is interesting, though, the parallels between last year's Pac-12 and this year's ACC. Because didn't the Pac-12, after everybody ripping them for being a terrible conference, didn't they get 3 teams in the Elite Eight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were massive. Like, the Pac-12 killed it last year.
Yeah, in the tournament. So
Yeah.
this year, the ACC, although everyone all year has been, it's a down conference.
Yeah.
Even though there's some good ACC teams that didn't make the tournament.
Yeah.
As you pointed out in our group chat, Virginia was pretty good.
Yep.
Wake Forest was really good this year as well. There are teams that could have made it,
Mm-hmm.
but they only got 5. Then 3 of those 5 ended up making it to the Elite Eight, and only one team got eliminated without winning a game, and that was Virginia Tech, the team that won the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
Notre Dame won a couple games before they got bounced.
Yep.
So it's been a successful tourney run for the ACC, which like it's interesting to think about because like we have a full season worth of data on these teams.
Yeah.
So like last year, I think the Pac-12 literally was bad.
It probably was.
And this year, this ACC is not as good as the ACC has been in the past.
Yeah, but
there's something about when you get into the tournament, like
Yeah.
anything can happen in those one game eliminations.
Absolutely. Especially when you...
I'm hearing a really good argument for more tournaments and less regular season.
I'd be down with that.
Tournaments are awesome. I feel like there's teams that are built for tournament play, too. And I feel like a team like North Carolina, while you would like to have more depth, I feel like when you get in these situations of just, you're not playing for an overall season, but you're playing for tomorrow, I feel like 5 guys is enough. Like, yeah, you would like somebody off the bench in case someone gets in foul trouble, but you've got your horses, you're going to ride with it, and they're not going to care that they won't be able to move tomorrow because this is the game. This is the season all for one. Like, it doesn't matter.
I think you'd like it. You'd like the depth, especially when you're playing the second game of a weekend with only one day off in between.
Yeah.
Because you can see, like, a lot of
They're
times...
college kids. One day off is an eternity.
I
Unless there's an actual injury.
Yeah, and I think that's where your point comes in about the fact that they know this isn't a marathon, we're playing for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because if you watch North Carolina this season, when they played on a Monday or a Tuesday after playing on a Saturday, they were very often flat in those games when they only had 1 or 2 days off. But didn't feel that way in the Baylor game.
No.
They came out firing.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's happened in those games when they're coming off of 1 or 2 days rest is like the shooters like Brady Manick tend to fade towards the end of the game. Like the shots don't fall.
They lose their legs.
Yep. And that kind of happened actually to him in the second half of this most recent win against UCLA. His shots weren't falling. But, fortunately there's a different guy who steps up every game.
I just had a weird thought. Tom Brady has been playing long enough that Brady Manick literally could have been named after him.
It'd be close, but yeah.
Because hasn't Brady playing like 20 seasons now?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Manic a senior or is he younger?
No, he's a grad transfer actually. So he would
Okay,
be,
so he's
bit
pretty
older.
old.
he's
Okay.
probably 23.
Okay, so he's a little old. I was thinking more of a younger college player.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
That
never
is
mind.
Crazy to think, though.
That it's really close, right?
Did you guys
Yeah.
see the Peyton Manning? Did I share it to the group? There was a Peyton Manning quote
Yeah.
about
Yes.
he said about Brady unretiring. He's like, I want my note back. You got to read all those nice things I said about you. I want it back, and I want the bottle of wine back too. It's so funny.
Seriously.
I think it's funny too because like those guys, that was built up to be such a rivalry in their playing days, but they never really had much to say about it themselves.
Yeah.
And then you realize after the careers are over and they're not competing with each other anymore, they're actually friends.
Yeah.
They're pretty funny together too. So
How did for the history? How did you become a fan of North Carolina? Like was it something similar? Like you watched a game when you were a little kid, like I did, and just glommed on this is my team, and it never changed? Because in all of your sports fandoms, I would say that this is is this the only one where you are like 100% loyal to the team no matter what?
Yeah, you didn't even stop being a fan when the coach left. Retired, not
Yeah.
left. But
yeah, I think it started with mid 90s. So I was around 10, and I had a really good friend who we were just starting to get into watching college basketball together, and this was Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson,
Some fun teams.
Ed Cota. The Tar Heels teams in the mid 90s were so fun to watch
Yeah.
that I like watched them play and immediately fell in love with them. So they were my team, and then like even through most of my childhood, I was still like I was a pretty casual fan.
Yeah.
But there was something that happened about the time that Roy Williams took over, which I believe was 2003. So there's like 8-year stretch of me being like a fan, but not as intensely crazy as I am now.
Yeah.
But in that, when he took over, that was Rashad McCants, Raymond Felton, and Sean May. And I know, sorry, I brought up Raymond Felton. I shouldn't have done it. But Raymond Felton, as a college
He was
point guard,
good.
one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then that team went, and as juniors, they went and won a national title. And I think that was the point where I like became a psychopath.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, see, that's so weird. For me, all of my fandoms were born out of sorrow and great disappointment. Like
that is interesting.
Like the Mariners went on this great run and this amazing ultimate high, seemingly of beating the Yankees, just to have it dashed in the next series in 1995. And then it's just been built on disappointment and disappointment. And Oregon State lost on that last second shot. And Oregon State's football team has had just so many times where they've just getting run into the mud. But I would say the closest thing to that for me is when I really solidified as an Oregon State football fan was when they beat the tar out of Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. Mm-hmm. But other than that, everything for me is like just sadness has solidified my fanhood.
It's actually a pretty good it's a pretty good commentary on just the way we root in general, because whenever we have rooting interest in anything, I'm always trying to set myself up for win-win scenarios.
Yeah.
Where no matter what happens in a game, I can still feel good about it.
Yeah.
So you root for players, you root for teams, like come up with a way that when this game is over, you'll feel okay.
Yeah.
And there's only one team I can't do that with.
For sure. And it's the ultimate lose situation if they get past St. Peter's. But there's a slight win-win. You could watch history of St. Peter's wins today. That didn't help at all, did it?
St. Peter's, I went back because I knew they were a 15 seed.
Yeah.
They lost 11 games this year.
Yeah, they're
They
not one
lost-
of these small teams that went undefeated.
They lost 2 games to colleges I've never heard of. I went back and looked through all their losses, and they did play some tough out-of-conference games early in the season.
Okay.
And then, like, they lost to Siena. You know, Siena was pretty good. I think they're in the same conference as Iona, and
Okay.
Iona was really good and they would have been, like, the best team in the conference had St. Peter's not won their conference tournament. So, there were good teams that they lost to, but they also lost to, like, I was like, who is this? What college is this? Is that just a guy?
Yeah.
Like it's very weird to look back at like how they got to the point where they're beating the likes of Kentucky, and
It's insane.
it's like how did Purdue? Like those are good teams.
Yeah.
They're not even a good shooting team. Like a lot of times when you have the lower conference teams that come in, they play really good defense and they shoot the lights out.
Yeah.
They're like for the season they're like 32% 3-point shooting as a team.
Are they higher in the tournament?
I
Like, have they got
I
hot?
couldn't say for sure. They might have just gotten hot, but
I
they
don't
didn't
know.
shoot well from the outside against Purdue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's really odd.
My favorite fact about them was that they can't play music in their workout room because it would disturb the class next door.
That's hilarious.
That's how small their facilities are.
Well, there's only like 4,300 kids in the entire school.
Yeah.
Like, it's
They've got a total enrollment far smaller than most of the single class year classes of the teams that they're playing in this tournament.
it's insane.
So let me run through St. Peter's losses this year.
They look like a Disney story.
They lost to VCU.
This movie,
Yeah.
completely not joking, this movie will be awesome.
Yes.
They lost to VCU. Not a bad loss. They lost to St. John's. I have no idea how good St. John's is, but they lost to them by 21, and they're not a tournament team.
Yikes.
They lost to Providence. No embarrassment there. That's a Sweet 16 team.
Yeah.
They lost to Siena. They lost
That's
to
a color, isn't it?
St. Francis BK. What? They lost to them by 11 points.
Is this just a ton of Catholic schools in this?
St. Francis Boarding College
Maybe
spelled wrong? I don't know.
Maybe St. Francis Burger King. Possibly. I don't know.
It's a mixed franchise.
They lost to Stony Brook.
Okay. I think I know. Have I heard of Stony Brook?
Stony Brook sounds like a small college.
Yeah.
With rich people.
They lost to
Either
a
that
college.
or like a private security firm.
Yeah.
They lost to a college called Canisius.
What?
Canisius. Canisius.
Okay.
They lost to Iona.
Okay.
They lost to Ryder, which is a college, not just a guy. It's
right.
not like Lamar, where you're just playing against a guy.
Yeah.
They lost to Iona again. They lost to Siena. And I think that was their last... That's their last loss of the season so far. And they've won 8 games in a row. So 11 losses, and some of those I'm like, what? And St. Peter's has to be looking around going, how did we get here?
Seriously.
Because like there's a weird thing about like rooting for a team in the tournament that's a big school like North Carolina, and you're like, man, Elite Eight, and we get to play against a 15 seed. But then that 15 seed just knocked off Kentucky and Purdue.
Yeah.
So they're I don't know what team are we playing?
Yeah.
Are we playing against the team that lost to Meatloaf State and those other Burger King? Are we playing against a team that lost to Burger King, or are we playing against the team that just beat Kentucky and Purdue? I don't know, and it's driving me nuts. And it's the reason why, as I was waiting to leave today, I was standing in the back room eating a dry tortilla, because it's all my stomach could handle. And my 16-year-old son is like, Dad, why are you hovering over the coffee maker eating a tortilla? And I was like, I don't know. But all I did was chase puppies and pace nervously all morning. I'm losing it.
Just eating a plain tortilla?
Rolled up. Just eating it.
Well, at least you weren't eating it flat. I feel like that'd be worse.
That would be so weird.
It didn't taste good.
Daniel, your sister chimed in and said that she's still brokenhearted about I think she's talking about the 95 Mariners. She says,
Yeah.
Real trauma, needed therapy, sobbing on my Ken Griffey Jr. cutout.
Seriously.
That emotional outburst has been waiting to come out of me
Yeah.
all show.
I appreciate
Yeah,
it,
I
Justin.
wanted to talk more about St. Peter's, about how they look like a literal like Disney or Nickelodeon movie, with like even how they built the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just kind of assume that the guy with the mustache like moved
Doug
in.
Ebert?
Yeah, you assume that he moved in
Doug
from
Ebert?
out of the area, and that
Your
nobody
sister
really knows
loves
him very
plain
well.
Tortillas, so.
Plain tortillas?
Like plain and dry.
She just said, I love plain tortillas.
That is a food that I eat when my stomach is upset. And I know I need some food in my stomach, otherwise I'm going to keep feeling my stomach upset. But if that's all... We need to take a commercial break. We're going to name an athlete.
We have commercials.
We're going to name an athlete of the week in a minute, and then I think we'll do another commercial and then mailbag. But first, let's take our first commercial break of the show. Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com. My wife just sent me a video of my dog watching our show live on our TV and barking at me.
Which dog?
Zuko.
Zuko?
Yeah, the older one is a 6-month-old Aussie Doodle.
I'm telling you, naming a dog Azula, you're asking for trouble.
Azula is my favorite character in that show.
You're a crazy
Nerds.
person.
I tend
You're a crazy
to.
person.
I tend
For people
to, like,
who don't know, we're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I tend to gravitate towards like the art of creating a psychopathic character. So like when there are characters in a show that are just deranged, I tend to gravitate towards liking those characters the most.
You're bizarre.
This slots perfectly into our discussion about your fan of UNC.
That's true. That's true. This
I just
works
had
well.
a full-on
All right.
emotional outburst. Okay?
All right. So, first of all, thank you for our sponsors, the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz and Oli Penn Real Estate, the sponsor of our Oli Penn Athlete of the Week, which is... Let me make sure I get the name right because
It's William Idso.
Yeah, I didn't want to say Todd because isn't his brother's name Todd?
No, his brother's name is something else, but there's
Okay.
a kid named
There's another
Todd.
Idso.
There's another Todd.
Sorry. Okay, I completely butchered that. Anyway, it's William
Is it Dylan
Idso.
Todd? Dylan Todd, I think, is the one. He does like long distance running. maybe?
Yeah, I think you're right. All right. Anyway, Oli Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week.
11.41 or 11. His PR is in the 11.4s
Nice.
on the 100, which is stupid fast.
Yeah. He also won the 200 with a 23:01, which is also stupid fast.
And he beat the second place person by almost a second and a half.
He won the 200 meters by over a second.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
that is
That
nuts.
is nuts.
Wow. And then for good measure, he took the high jump with a jump of 5:10, which, wow, that's really impressive as well. So William Idso is our Oli Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week for absolutely dominating those three events.
Yeah, and I think we don't have. My wife just sent me this GIF of Azula, and it says, "You should have feared me more."
Yeah.
She's got flames in the background. Yeah, that's accurate.
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing that of note that I mean, there was a lot of things of note. Like there was some Montesano kids that won things. Gabe Bodwell won the javelin. William, boy, I wish I could remember his last name, won the shot put for Monty. Jesse Anderson, I think is the name.
Yeah. That was the name you sent earlier.
Okay, so Jesse for Montesano. And speaking of crazy people,
Yeah.
Jesse Anderson ran the 800, the 1600, and the 3200 at one meet.
You're crazy.
Usually, you see they have the distance runners. One of them runs the 8 and the 16, and the other one runs the 32 because that's a stupid amount of running to do it in one day.
Yeah.
In that short a period of time. So not only did he run all three of them, he won the 800, he won the 3200, and he missed winning the 1600 by about a second.
And a second is much closer in that race.
In
than
that
it was
race.
In the 200.
Yeah.
That's
so
nuts.
really impressive performance by Jesse. Not only that he won two of those races and came in second in the third, but like, holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
You just ran all those races and you ran them at a high level. It's really impressive.
Back to William Idso really quick. He also was recognized by the WIA as one of their athletes of the week as well. So, yep.
But this
as
is
we all
obviously
know,
a bigger honor.
our honor is more prestigious because they also name like 10 or 12 people as the athlete of the week every week.
That's true.
And we only name one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually. We've
And
had a
it's
few co.
so prestigious that we forgot to create a social media post for Tiara Straka last week for being athlete of the week.
That's my bad. Parenthood has really thrown me off of my post. All right, that's going to do it for that segment. Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week is William Idso. We're going to take another commercial break and get back for the mailbag, but we are running out of time because Justin says that he'll leave no matter what at 1:20.
Yes, I will.
At Ole Penn Real Estate, we have solidified our foundation on 4 core values. First, we continuously focus on growing our knowledge in the market and in our practices to bring the highest level of competency to our clients. Second, we provide a high level of integrity, compassion, and kindness in every aspect of our business. Third, we put the human element above business through humor, enthusiasm, and patience. And last but not least, we proactively respond to the needs of our clients. Our mission is to create a personal real estate experience, one person and one home at a time. With Ole Penn, it's personal.
The mailbag.
Yes,
Send
the mailbag.
us your stuff. Send us your stuff in a mailbag.
Thank you again to our sponsors, Ole Penn Real Estate, the sponsor of our Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week, and the Law Office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, the sponsor of Stump Daniel. Justin, now we are in the mailbag. First of all, do we have anything from the chat?
We don't have anything from the chat.
Okay. Jewel, if my sister's still watching, ask us a question. I don't know what it would be.
We did have something. Andrew, do you have it, or do you want me to get it?
Of what? Because I'm looking at...
We got something from The Godfather.
Oh, wait, Andrew, I always hate that I'm the only one who doesn't know who that is.
I know, that's one of my favorite things about it. So here's the first mailbag question from The Godfather.
Okay.
This is very Daniel related.
Oh, great.
Daniel
Yes.
has awed us with stories about his athletic prowess in high school.
Have I?
It says,
He's
though...
saying that you have.
What is a GB or CBG?
A certified bucket getter.
Oh, boy. So, boy, that's embarrassing.
embarrassing.
I didn't know that it was at the level that we were abbreviating it. So, although you have awed us with stories about your athletic prowess in high school, you were never certified bucket getter to his knowledge.
Nope.
The run
was
of
not.
great local track and field athletes has him wondering, if Daniel had decided to bless that sport with his talents instead of baseball, what events would he do, and how many state titles would he have brought home to the harbor?
Oh, gosh.
So start with all the state titles.
No. No. Let's see. What events would I have done? I'm trying to think of because I liked sprinting, but I know I wasn't even the fastest at Hoquiam. Because
Was that at one of the points where Hoquiam track was really good? Because
Really?
Hoquiam track has had some really, really good
I
teams.
think they won a state title one of the years I was there. I'm not positive. No, they didn't win a state title, but we had Jeremy Walker was a senior when I was a junior, and he won the state 100 meters.
Yeah,
that year.
Jeremy was real fast.
He was real fast. And then I don't know if you remember Jeffrey Gates was
yeah.
also in my class. He was real fast as well.
Interesting. I didn't know he ran track. I always thought of
yeah.
him as more of a bruiser. I know he was a great running back.
Yeah, great running back, but he also ran track. He actually blew out his knee his last year. So his senior year, he wouldn't have. But the funny thing about Gates is I beat him in a race when we played at the same basketball, 5th grade basketball. I beat him in like down and back or something like that. And forever after that, he thought I was faster than him. I wasn't.
But one time.
Yeah, one time. So I would say I would have done the 100 because the 100 and the 200 because that would have been the most fun. But I think learning the triple jump would have been fun. And the thing that I might have had the best chance of being really good at had I worked at it, and they had a really good coach and also really good pole vaulters at Hoquiam too, was I think my dad would have really wanted me to get into pole vault because that's what he did. And Izzy Chavez and Gabe Chavez both were, I think, well, Gabe won state and Izzy placed at state at least, if not winning it too. So
Your
I would've-
body style, your body type fits pole vault.
Does
too,
it?
Doesn't it?
I think so.
I
I got
want
you
to say
pegged as a
long
hurdler.
and long
hurdles
arms.
would have been fun. Maybe I could see. I feel like I needed something where I could use my speed, but not at like the elite speed level of the 100 and 200. So maybe hurdles would have been that spot for me. But state titles, I don't know about that.
What about like the 3-cone drill?
Maybe I could. You know what? Do they have is it the decathlon? Do they have that in high school? Because I would have been great at that.
What is a decathlon?
Isn't that the one
swimming
where
and biking and running?
No. Isn't
That's triathlon.
yeah, that's
isn't it?
triathlon. The decathlons where they do like 10 different events.
Oh, it's not the one where they ski and shoot a.
No,
No,
it's
that's
like
a biathlon.
they do
There's
like
too many athlons.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
actually,
that what it is? Is that what it's called?
wait.
Yeah.
If the
Okay.
biathlon
Also
is
known
two
as
things,
going
and the
out for
triathlon
groceries in
is
Sweden.
Yeah.
the triathlon.
No,
is
I was
three
talking about the
things.
decathlon.
Oh,
Like,
so
is
the
that what it's called?
I
decathlon
think it is.
that would be 12 things, right?
No, 10.
10?
Deck means-
But December is the 12th month, so
Oh my gosh. So no, I don't think I would have brought any state titles, but I would have done the fun short events. I think if I would have worked at it, probably would have been better at distance, but distance running's hard. Like, no, thank you.
I mean, at least you come by that honestly.
True.
I think that's my favorite story about your dad is
Oh.
that he didn't want to. The reason he played offensive line, right?
Yeah. So my dad played defensive line,
defensive,
actually,
okay.
but he was stupid fast. But he played nose tackle because his coach had a rule that you had to run a mile in a certain amount of time to be a back. And my dad didn't want to, so he played on the line. So he was 160-pound nose tackle.
running a mile have to do with being a running back?
Good question. Yeah,
That would
I
be
don't
a
know.
defensive back, right?
It-
If it was
Any
defensive
back,
line.
yeah.
Oh, any back.
Any
okay.
back, offensive,
I just said-
defensive. Yeah, so that's why he played on the line.
It's about
I
as
just love
logical
that.
as having offensive linemen
I
run a
just love
40-yard
it.
dash.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, we got time for one more Godfather question.
Okay.
This is for everyone, not just Daniel this time.
Daniel's correct. It's the decathlon. It is 10.
Okay.
But December is the 12th month.
I'm not arguing with you.
So where would you
It's
most
a 2-day event.
want to visit of these three places? Middle Earth,
Ooh.
a galaxy far, far away,
Okay.
or Bossing Say? Or what is a stepwise world? Any of the stepwise worlds?
What's
Dana, have you
Stepwise
read
World?
The Long Earth?
No, I
It's
haven't.
Terry Pratchett and Stephen Briggs, I believe. I think that's what he is referring to there. It's the world. There's like parallel worlds.
Okay. No, I haven't read.
Why didn't you ask me if I've read it?
Step between them. I knew you hadn't.
Is
No,
Middle
but-
Earth
See-
the Lord of the Rings thing?
Yes, it is.
See, so I would insert Discworld then. For
Oh
that
yeah. Okay. That would
Um,
work. I'll allow that.
Which would I rather? So Middle Earth has some beautiful places. Is it post-war, or are we like getting dropped into like the middle of the conflict? 'Cause
Yeah. What age?
I also don't want to get like murdered by orcs. So I feel like a galaxy far, far away. There's some planets like on the outer reaches of the galaxy that I can like hang out and relax and probably have a pretty good time without getting like force choked. So, but also space kind of scares me.
For me, it depends on how much money I'm going to get given along with it. Because if I'm going to a galaxy far, far away, I want to be above average wealthy. I don't want to be a poor person. Like, I can be a poor person on a planet right now. I am a poor person on a planet. You know? So if I go to galaxy far, far away, I need to be at least wealthy enough to own a ship.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like,
Yeah.
probably upper class, probably not even upper middle. I feel like upper middle class in most of Star Wars is not like they're not.
What
flying
class was
around
Han
with-
Solo in?
That's what I was.
The criminal class.
Criminal class.
Okay.
He is
so
a smuggler.
upper criminal class.
Yes,
Was
Oh,
wealthy
he's an
enough to own a
owner-operator.
ship.
He's
Yeah.
an owner operator. Yeah.
Bougie.
So if I have money, then the Star Wars
Yeah.
universe, but I think that if you're just dropping me as I am, I'm probably gonna survive longer in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm not going to seek out any conflict. But I feel like there's a Middle Earth is very wild and unsettled, and I feel like there's a reasonable chance of being able to just get away and live your life.
Yeah. That makes
and
sense.
it would be amazing to
Yeah.
explore.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'd go full mountain man.
Why did he say Ba Sing Se though? Because isn't that the city that's like super segregated by class, and it's like actually really terrible unless you're like
What is that
the
from?
elite?
I assumed it was.
It's from
Avatar,
Avatar.
Last
Yeah, it's
Airbender.
from Avatar. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
like
the-
Ba Sing Se is like one of the last cities I would have chosen
Oh,
in
that's
that
not-
whole show.
That's not. It's a specific city. It's not the whole world.
No, it's just
Does
the
he-
city.
Maybe he means the whole world. Could we?
No, Ba Sing Se is pretty specific if you've
Okay.
seen the show.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I think like to Andrew's point, like if you got dropped in as a poor person, Ba Sing Se is not really the place you'd want to be.
no.
Because it was, pretty grungy and gross, and there, like Daniel was saying, there was very significantly like the class divides were severe. Like
Yeah.
there was a severe upper class and a severe lower class, and they were like shielded from the world.
Yeah.
And you couldn't really. It was difficult to go in or out.
Yeah,
So
like that. It was walled off parts of the city.
yeah. So I don't think I'd want to go to any of those places.
Yeah.
If I had to choose one, I'd choose none.
Wow, that's
Jules,
kind of a lame.
Jules says Middle Earth.
Yeah. There's some great elven
Isn't it really
woods.
hot in the middle of the earth, though? Like, what else could Middle Earth mean? Like, the north.
It's like the Middle East, except it's in.
Yeah, I mean,
Earths.
what do any of our like definitions of land masses mean?
Well, I was trying to
Like, what's
figure out
Central
like
America?
where on
It's the one in the middle.
Exactly.
where, but what's the middle of the earth? Because the earth is a sphere.
Well, it's
the
yeah,
middle
but
of the
it's-
earth is in the middle of the earth.
Well, that's if you're taking Earth as to mean planet
but
Earth,
Middle
or
Earth-
are you taking Earth to mean like this spot of Earth over
So, like,
here?
Middle
what-
Earth
so if
was
you're looking-
flat though.
So
okay.
So
Okay, so if you're looking at like a world map,
Yes.
you got Western Hemisphere, Eastern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
But does the whole world look at the same map that we do?
Which is also weird because you just said Western Hemisphere and Eastern Hemisphere, but if it wasn't defined as that way, it's a globe. How do you
Yeah.
say which one's on the west side
That's
and
what
the
I'm
east
saying.
side?
Like it's easy to
well,
say.
you fight a war, and whoever wins gets to decide. Yeah.
it's
you
easy
go.
to say Middle Earth is the point between the middle point between the north and the south. But how do you decide what's Middle Earth between the east and the west? Because I think in Australia they might have a different world map than we do.
yeah.
Well,
at
it'd be
what
upside
point?
down.
See, because especially because in my thought, like Japan is west of us,
Yeah.
and yet that's the far east,
Yeah.
right? No, that's the west. That's the
Right.
far west.
No, we are in the far west. Japan
So-
is in the far east. The dividing line is in the ocean between Japan and us.
So is there logic to the reason why it's called Middle Earth? And it's not a judgment. I'm just asking.
There is. You don't want to hear it.
Okay.
It's like 15 minutes of biblical style stories.
Okay, well that's gonna do it for our
Yeah.
show today.
Justin has to leave.
I've got 52 seconds. We got to wrap it up.
Consider it wrapped.
Okay.
No, for my trusty co-host Justin, the emotionally deranged fan Damashevitz.
And my co-host Daniel. I had a nickname, but it's too mean, so I'm not going to say it. Hargrove.
And our trusty producer Andrew wants to be of the bougie class in Star Wars. Gross.
Bougie.
You've been listening to this scrimmage.
Bye. Angel sent me a text that said, "It's 1:19."